The Agenda with Steve Paikin.
Which violates my bonds of matrimony.
Politics.
These allegations are false.
Power.
And I need to go back to work for the American people.
And peccadillos.
I have acted in a way that violates my obligations to my family and that violates my or any sense of right and wrong.
Is recklessness the flip side of power?
We want people to see all political figures as two-dimensional cartoons, like so that we deify and glorify the people we like. They're still real people. They're imperfect.
First, I want to apologize.
And
for all the things that I've done.
Saying you're sorry.
One has to look deeply into the mirror of one's soul.
And meaning it.
And decide one's unique truth.
Dave Gordon on the 3 things that make an apology
But I've disappointed
kosher.
And failed to live up to the standard I expected of myself.
Kosher apologies. And the personalities and peccadillos of politicians. That's tonight on The Agenda. Up next.
I have acted in a way that violates my obligations to my family and that violates my or any sense of right and wrong.
The 3 things that make an apology sincere. And why Eliot Spitzer failed the test.
To every New Yorker.
That's next on The Agenda.
In what I tried to stand for, I sincerely apologize.
And joining us now is Dave Gordon. He is the author of the forthcoming book, Kosher Apologies, which is exactly what we're going to talk about tonight. Here, some tape, if I can, Dave, off the top, of, I guess, one of the most historic apologies in the history of the United States. Roll tape, please.
I'm deeply sorry that I did not live up to what was expected of me. The remorse I feel will always be with me.
A little piece of Eliot Spitzer, the former governor of New York, apologizing for we all know what by now. Lots to unpack here. Let's start, generally speaking, with what the rules of what you call a kosher apology are.
Basic rules of a kosher apology follow what I call the ESP rule. It has to be expeditious, it has to be specific, and through words and actions, promise not to do it again.
Did the governor fulfill the ESP rules according to Dave Gordon?
No.
He did not?
No.
Okay. Expeditious. He was not quick about it?
Well, he was quick after he was caught.
That matters, apparently?
Well, yes. If you're accused in a court of law of something and you plead guilty right away, the punishment is less than as if you were proven guilty later.
Sure.
So he really didn't follow the expeditious rule. He jumped to the podium only after he was caught and after he was forced.
So you're not giving him a lot of points for that?
No.
Okay. S is?
Specific.
Was he?
There wasn't anything specific in his apology. Now, I don't expect somebody in his position to talk about what happened with him and his paramour or whoever else he was with. There should be some recognition as to what it is that he's done, an admittance of something that indicates he has wronged people through his actions. And what he did was more of a namby-pamby, wishy-washy, I'm sorry, I apologize, I feel remorse. But there was nothing there that attributed his knowledge of the reality of the situation.
And the P, ESP.
Promise not to do it again.
Promise not to do it again. That goes for, doesn't that go without saying in this case?
Well, not in this case.
You don't think so?
No. I see, a man like Spitzer is in a sticky situation, not just because he was caught. I mean, probably one of the worst things of being caught is probably being in flagrante or even indifference. He's in a sticky situation because over time the problem exacerbates itself. Repetition of sin worsens the sin. That's well known. But repetition of the sin dulls the conscience. So for the first few times that he's done this, allegedly, he had to wrestle with his guilt. He had to wrestle with dollops of anxiety or doses of shame. After that, maybe it became second nature. After that, maybe it became something he got used to. Maybe it was acceptable to him. So getting up into the podium after so many times and so many years of psychological acceptance of this act, how can we really know that he's not going to be able to just go out and do it all over again? He was caught. But we don't know for sure. He's got a lot of reparations to do over time.
But would you have expected him to say that to the public? I understand that he's got to tell his wife, I'm never going to do that again, if he wants to keep his marriage together. But would you expect him to say that to the people of New York?
That he's never going to do it again?
Yeah.
Yes. I would say that it would be very helpful if he said, through my words and actions henceforth, I'm going to be faithful to my wife. I'm going to work towards my marriage if that's what she wants. I'm going to not break the law anymore, which is very difficult for us to take at face value for a lawmaker such as him.
Well, but then again, can he fess up to having broken a law at this stage of the game when he's probably still doing plea bargaining behind the scenes with other lawyers?
That's a good question. Though you know, we know that he was caught and he had to fulfill his obligations for a kosher apology. So there were things that he had to do and say to promise not to do a lot of that again.
Okay, and you're not, so on a scale of 1 to 10, in terms of kosher apologies, how far did he get?
Probably 1.
A 1? You thought it was that bad, eh?
I thought it was that bad.
Did you not, I mean, you saw the whole tape, I'm sure, on the day. Did you not think he was sincere?
I thought that he was sincerely feeling bad for being caught.
No kidding. So you don't really see you did not see any contrition when he was up there at the podium?
Not through his words. I don't think that he really exuded sincerity. I think what he exuded was probably being ashamed for the situation he was in and the inevitability for his marriage and his job.
We should talk about his wife, because so many people have made the observation not only how she looked, but also what was she doing there at all. Is part of a kosher apology, particularly in this realm, what does it say about whether or not the wife should or should not be beside the transgressor?
Right. So I think that's really up to her. Nobody can make anybody do anything, and obviously, see, it's really difficult to put ourselves in her shoes and tell somebody what they should and shouldn't have done when she's faced with this. What's she feeling? How much hurt? Did she see it coming? Did she know what was going on? Was this a surprise to her? Does she want to save face? Does she want to avert any further controversy by being there versus her absence? From the look on her face, a person who has been through that situation, I could just tell that she felt very uncomfortable being there. Again, that was her choice. And as for whether he should have expected her there, I don't think it was necessary if he had made the apology to her as well.
His last two, the ex-governor's last two public events, have been walk in, go to the podium, very short statement, no questions from the media, walk out, with his wife by his side. If you're trying to demonstrate contrition and be genuinely apologetic, is that the right thing to do?
I think he should have opened himself up. He should have been more vulnerable. What he said was curt, brusque, short.
Scripted.
Scripted. Opening himself up to questions, even difficult questions, takes courage. And an apology takes courage. Apology is very much something that it's a manly thing to do, to come clean, to take responsibility for your actions, hold yourself accountable for your mistakes, and say you're sorry and you were wrong.
Dave Gordon, author of the forthcoming Kosher Apologies. We'll look for that on bookstore shelves sometime soon. Thanks for coming in tonight.
Thank you, Steve.
And that is the agenda for Wednesday, March 19th, 2008. Tomorrow night, Raul Castro's Cuba.